canvas splashed with vibrant colors stands in stark contrast to the dimly lit basement apartment. An elderly woman whispers to her painting, "You'll show them. We both will." The prestigious Harrington Gallery buzzed with excitement. Crystal champagne flutes clinked as Manhattan's elite circulated among contemporary masterpieces priced in the millions. Photographers captured celebrities posing beside artwork they barely glanced at. In the corner stood an unassuming painting, a vibrant landscape that seemed to breathe with life, colors blending in ways that caught the eye and wouldn't let go. Yet guests walked past it without a second look. "Can we please move this piece elsewhere? Perhaps near the exit?" A tall man in an immaculately tailored suit gestured dismissively. "It's taking up prime wall space that could showcase Lawrence's new series." Garrett Wilson, gallery owner and tonight's host, glanced at the painting with visible discomfort. "It's part of our community outreach program. We promise to feature it for the opening hour at least." "Community outreach?" the man scoffed. "This is a 7-figure fundraiser, not a charity showcase." Outside the gallery's gleaming glass doors, a woman in her 70s approached slowly. Clara Thompson wore a simple blue dress, carefully pressed, but decades out of style. Her silver hair was pulled back in a neat bun, her hands marked with age spots and slight tremors. A small pin of a paintbrush adorned her collar, the only hint of her passion. As she reached for the door handle, a security guard stepped forward. "Excuse me, ma'am, this is a private event." "I'm an artist," Clara said softly. "My painting is being displayed tonight." The guard exchanged glances with the doorman, both clearly skeptical. "Your name?" the doorman asked, clipboard in hand. "Clara Thompson." After a moment of scanning, he raised his eyebrows. "There is a Thompson listed, but surely you're not." "I am," she said with quiet dignity. Inside, Garrett was already instructing an assistant to relocate the landscape painting when his phone buzzed with a message from the entrance. His eyes widened slightly. With a forced smile, he excused himself from the conversation. At the door, Clara waited patiently as the guard and doorman debated her claim. "Let her in," Garrett announced, appearing suddenly. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Ms. Thompson is indeed one of our featured artists tonight." Clara stepped into the gallery with quiet grace, immediately overwhelmed by the opulence. She clutched her small handbag tighter as people brushed past her without acknowledgement. Across the room stood Vanessa Carlyle, renowned art critic and influencer, her sleek designer dress and commanding presence drawing attention wherever she moved. Her opinion could make or break artists. Tonight, she was focused on the works of Lawrence Reed, the gallery's star attraction. "Lawrence captures the existential dread of modernity with such precision," Vanessa declared to her entourage. "His use of negative space is revolutionary." Clara made her way toward her painting, occasionally stopping to admire other works with genuine appreciation. When she reached her landscape, she stood before it with quiet pride. "Excuse me," a waiter said, barely glancing at her, as he offered the last champagne flute to a young woman in an evening gown standing nearby. Clara nodded politely, invisible again. "You like this one?" asked a soft voice. Clara turned to find a young man, Marcus Turner, the gallery's newest assistant curator. Unlike the others, his interest seemed genuine. "I do," Clara replied. "Very much. It's different from the others," Marcus observed. "There's something honest about it." Clara smiled. "That's the highest compliment. You know the artist. You could say that." Their conversation was interrupted by Vanessa's approaching entourage. Marcus straightened immediately, professionalism overtaking his casual demeanor. "Marcus, darling," Vanessa called. "Lawrence is asking for you. Something about the lighting on his centerpiece." As Marcus excused himself, Clara found herself directly in Vanessa's path. The critic stopped, her gaze sweeping over Clara with poorly disguised disdain. "Are you lost?" Vanessa asked, her tone saccharine. "The senior center tour was yesterday." Several people nearby chuckled. "I'm here for the exhibition," Clara answered calmly. "How charming," Vanessa said. Her eyes drifted to the landscape painting. "Were you admiring this? It's part of the community program, sweet but amateur. Notice the inconsistent brushwork and derivative composition." She spoke loudly enough for others to hear her critique. Clara listened silently. "Art requires innovation," Vanessa continued, warming to her audience. "Technical skill means nothing without vision. This piece lacks both, I'm afraid." "What makes you say that?" Clara asked quietly. Vanessa looked surprised at being questioned. "Well, it's obvious to anyone with training. The artist clearly hasn't developed beyond basic technique. Probably some hobbyist who should keep their work in community halls rather than prestigious galleries." "I see," Clara said, her voice steady despite the hurt in her eyes. "Vanessa," Garrett called, approaching hurriedly, "Lawrence is ready for your exclusive interview." As Vanessa swept away, she paused briefly. "Garrett, I do think that community piece should be moved. It disrupts the flow of the exhibition." "Already being handled," Garrett assured her with a practiced smile. As the crowd moved toward the gallery's main space, Clara remained by her painting, gently touching the frame as a gallery assistant approached with a dolly. "I'm sorry, Mom. I need to relocate this piece," he said. Clara nodded and stepped back, watching as her creation, the culmination of decades of unseen work, was wheeled toward a dimly lit corner near the restrooms. 3 months later, Vanessa Carlyle stood before a room full of eager art students at Columbia University. As the guest lecturer for their contemporary art criticism course, she commanded attention with her sharp insights and sharper tongue. "Trust your instincts," she told them. "When something is exceptional, you'll feel it immediately. When it's mediocre," she shrugged, "you'll know that too." After the lecture, students clustered around her, hungry for connections and validation. Vanessa distributed her business cards sparingly, enjoying the power of selectivity. Later that evening, she arrived at her penthouse apartment overlooking Central Park. Exhausted but satisfied, her assistant had left several messages, including one from the Harrington Gallery marked urgent. "Garrett," she said when he answered her call. "What's so pressing? Have you seen Artforum's latest announcement?" His voice was strained. "I've been lecturing all day. What is it?" "The Blackwell Prize. The winner was just announced." "And did Lawrence finally get the recognition he deserves?" Silence stretched across the line. "It's Thompson," Garrett finally said. "Clara Thompson." Vanessa nearly dropped her phone. "The community program painter? That's impossible." "Not just that. The Guggenheim acquired her work for their permanent collection. The price..." "Vanessa, it broke records." The following morning, Vanessa couldn't escape the news. Her social media was flooded with headlines about Clara Thompson, the discovery of the decade. Art critics worldwide were praising the very painting Vanessa had dismissed 3 months earlier. Her phone rang incessantly, colleagues, journalists, gallery owners, all wanting her reaction to Clara Thompson's meteoric rise. Vanessa declined every call. Finally, she opened her laptop to face the damage. An email from her editor at Art Critique magazine awaited. "Your column is on hold until further notice. Your credibility has been compromised by your public dismissal of Thompson's work. We cannot afford the association at this time." 2 weeks later, Vanessa sat alone in a downtown cafe, her usual table at her favorite restaurant unavailable for the first time in years. Her invitation to the Whitney's annual gala had been lost in the mail. 3 pending speaking engagements had been cancelled. She stared at her laptop screen, reading the profile of Clara Thompson for the 10th time. After 60 years of painting in obscurity, Thompson's unique technique combining classical training with innovative perspective has finally gained recognition. Art historians are now scrambling to document her extensive portfolio, created over decades while she worked as a public school art teacher in the Bronx. Vanessa closed her laptop and gazed out the window. Rain streaked the glass, distorting the city beyond. Like her vision had been distorted by arrogance and presumption. Her phone pinged with a notification, another cancelled subscription to her private art newsletter. Her income had been cut in half in just 2 weeks. Her reputation, carefully cultivated over 15 years, lay in tatters. "More coffee?" the waitress asked. Vanessa nodded, noticing how the woman's eyes didn't linger with recognition as they once would have. "Is this seat taken?" a voice asked. She looked up to find Marcus, the assistant curator from Harrington, standing by her table. "Why would you want to sit with art criticism's greatest failure?" she asked bitterly. "Because everyone deserves a second chance," he said, sliding into the chair. "Even critics." Rain pounded the sidewalk as Vanessa exited the subway in the Bronx, an area of the city she rarely visited. Marcus walked beside her, umbrella held high enough to cover them both. "I still don't understand why she agreed to this," Vanessa said, anxiety making her voice sharp. "Clara doesn't hold grudges," Marcus replied. "That's part of what makes her extraordinary." They approached a modest apartment building, its brick facade weathered but dignified. On the buzzer panel, a simple label read, "C. Thompson." Clara's apartment was small but filled with light from large windows. Every surface held evidence of her life's work: sketches, paint tubes, brushes in jars. The walls were lined with paintings, each vibrant with the same distinctive style that had captivated the art world. "Thank you for coming," Clara said, offering tea from a chipped pot. "Few people visit these days. They prefer to talk through my new gallery representatives." Vanessa sat stiffly on the edge of a worn armchair. "I appreciate you seeing me, Ms. Thompson. I know I don't deserve your time." Clara waved away the formality. "I've been called much worse than what you said at the exhibition. Art critics have been dismissing me for decades." "That doesn't excuse my behavior," Vanessa said. "I was cruel and dismissive without truly seeing your work." Clara studied her with kind eyes. "You saw what you expected to see. We all do sometimes." As they talked, Vanessa began to relax. Clara shared stories of her 60 years of painting, through marriage, widowhood, teaching generations of children in underserved schools. "Would you show me your studio?" Vanessa asked hesitantly. Clara led them to a small second bedroom transformed into a studio space. Morning light streamed through a window facing east. An easel held a half-finished canvas. "May I?" Vanessa gestured to a stack of canvases against the wall. Clara nodded. As Vanessa carefully examined each painting, her critical eye remained sharp, but something had changed. She was seeing with humility now, open to learning rather than judging. "Your technique here," Vanessa said, pointing to brushwork on a landscape. "I've never seen color layered quite this way." "I developed that when teaching my students," Clara explained. "We couldn't afford quality supplies, so I found ways to make inexpensive paints appear richer." The revelation stung Vanessa deeply. She had dismissed Clara's work while knowing nothing of the innovation born from necessity that had created it. Their conversation was interrupted by a knock at the door. Clara opened it to reveal a young girl, perhaps 11 years old, with leg braces and a determined expression. "Ms. Thompson, I finished the assignment." She thrust forward a sketchbook. "Emma, come in," Clara said warmly. "This is perfect timing. I have art guests today." Emma entered shyly, eyes widening when she recognized Vanessa from magazine photographs. "Emma is my best student," Clara explained. "I still teach a small group of children from the neighborhood every Saturday." "You're still teaching?" Vanessa asked, surprised. "Of course, fame doesn't change who you are, it just gives you a different platform." Emma opened her sketchbook to show a remarkably skilled drawing of the neighborhood park. "This is exceptional," Vanessa said, genuinely impressed. "Ms. Thompson taught me how to really see things," Emma said proudly. "I have cerebral palsy, so I can't always hold the pencil steady, but she showed me how to use that in my art." Vanessa glanced at Clara with new understanding. "Using limitations as strengths, just like your layering technique." Over the next few weeks, Vanessa returned to Clara's apartment regularly. She began by simply observing Clara's Saturday children's class, sitting quietly in the corner taking notes. Eventually, Clara invited her to assist. Vanessa found herself kneeling beside children from one of the city's poorest neighborhoods, showing them how to mix colors and see proportions. One afternoon, as Vanessa helped Emma clean brushes, the girl asked, "Are you famous like Ms. Thompson now?" Vanessa smiled ruefully. "The opposite, actually. I used to be important in the art world, but I made mistakes." "Ms. Thompson says mistakes are just the first sketch before the masterpiece," Emma said seriously. That night, Vanessa opened her laptop and began to write for the first time in months. Not a critique, but an essay about art education in underserved communities. She wrote through the night, words flowing from a place of genuine passion rather than ego. Her finished piece, The Invisible Canvas, Art Education in America's Forgotten Neighborhoods, told Clara's story alongside those of her students. Vanessa submitted it to several publications without expectation. To her surprise, The New Yorker accepted it immediately. The publication date was set for the following month. "I don't deserve this," Vanessa confessed to Clara over tea in the small Bronx apartment. "My career shouldn't recover before I've truly made amends." "Your voice is still valuable," Clara said. Just use it differently now. The Guggenheim Museum was illuminated against the autumn evening sky. Inside the special exhibition, Clara Thompson, 6 Decades of Vision, had drawn record crowds during its 3-month run. Tonight marked the closing gala. Vanessa stood at the entrance, her invitation clutched tightly. Her essay in The New Yorker had been widely praised, leading to a series on overlooked artists and art education reform. Still, she hadn't attended a major gallery event since her fall from grace a year ago. "Miss Carlyle," a voice called. Garrett Wilson approached, his smile now genuine. "Your series has been remarkable. Everyone's talking about it." "Thank you," Vanessa said. "Though the credit belongs to the artists I'm finally taking time to truly see." Inside, the exhibition was a testament to Clara's lifetime of work. Paintings from every period of her career lined the walls, including pieces created during her decades teaching in the Bronx. In a central position hung the landscape that had started it all, the painting Vanessa had so publicly dismissed. She stood before it now, seeing with new eyes its extraordinary depth and innovation. "It looks different in proper lighting, doesn't it?" Vanessa turned to find Clara beside her, elegant in a simple blue dress with her paintbrush pin. "It was never the lighting," Vanessa admitted. "It was my vision that was obscured." Clara smiled warmly. "Come, there's someone I want you to meet." They moved through the crowd to where Emma stood with her parents, the young girl now using just one leg brace but standing taller. She was explaining a painting technique to a group of attentive museum board members. "Emma has received a full scholarship to the Young Artists Academy," Clara said proudly. "The first of my students to be recognized this way." Emma spotted them and waved excitedly. "Miss Carlyle, they read your article about our class." The museum's director approached, champagne flute in hand. "Vanessa, we've been discussing the education initiative you proposed. The board is interested in funding pilot programs in 10 schools next year." 10 schools? Vanessa repeated, astonished. "Your advocacy has been persuasive, and having Clara's endorsement certainly helped." Later that evening, as the crowd gathered for speeches, the director called Clara to the podium. Applause filled the grand hall. "My success came late in life," Clara began. "But perhaps that's as it should be. I needed these decades to develop not just as an artist, but as a human being." She gestured toward Vanessa in the audience. "Some of you may remember Vanessa Carlyle's initial review of my work." Uncomfortable laughter rippled through the crowd, but fewer know that she has since become one of my dearest friends and the greatest advocate for my students. Vanessa felt tears threatening as Clara continued. "Tonight, I'm pleased to announce the establishment of the Thompson Carlyle Fellowship for Young Artists from Underserved Communities. Each year, 10 students will receive comprehensive art education and mentorship." Gasps and applause filled the room. Vanessa's hand flew to her mouth in shock. "True vision," Clara concluded, "isn't just about seeing art clearly. It's about seeing potential in unexpected places. In a child who can't hold a brush steadily, in an elderly woman with no connections, or in a critic who made a mistake but had the courage to make it right." After the speeches, as guests mingled among the masterpieces, Marcus found Vanessa by Clara's landscape. "You've come full circle," he observed. "With a much better perspective this time," she agreed. Emma joined them, excitement radiating from her. "Miss Carlyle, will you help teach in the new fellowship program?" Vanessa knelt to meet her eyes. "I'd be honored, but you'll have to be patient with me. I'm still learning too." 1 year later, Vanessa stood in a converted warehouse space in the Bronx, now transformed into the Thompson Carlyle Art Center. Children's artwork hung proudly alongside pieces by established artists. Parents and community members filled the space for the center's first annual exhibition. Clara moved through the crowd with the assistance of a cane now, but her eyes were as bright as ever. At 78, she had become not just an artistic icon, but a symbol of perseverance and late-blooming success. Emma, now 13 and graduated from both leg braces, led tours of the exhibition. She stopped beside a particular painting, a collaboration between Clara and Vanessa that depicted the neighborhood from 2 perspectives that somehow merged into one harmonious vision. "This one shows what happens when you're willing to see differently," Emma explained to the tour group. "Ms. Thompson says art isn't just about the final piece. It's about the transformation that happens while creating it. Later, as the event wound down, Vanessa found Clara sitting quietly in the center's small library, surrounded by art books they had collected for the students. "Did you ever imagine this?" Vanessa asked, gesturing around them at what they had built together. Clara smiled. "I always believed my art mattered, even when no one else could see it, but this..." She looked at the children still eagerly discussing their creations. "This is beyond what I imagined. You changed my life," Vanessa said simply. "You taught me that the most valuable critique comes from a place of understanding, not judgment. And you gave me the platform to reach these children," Clara replied. "We healed each other." As the last guests departed, Emma approached with a wrapped package. "For both of you," she said, placing it in Clara's hands. "From all of us students." Inside was a handmade book filled with letters and drawings from the children at the center. The inscription read, "To the women who taught us to see with our hearts as well as our eyes." Vanessa addressed the small crowd of remaining students and parents. The art world once told Clara Thompson she wasn't worthy of wall space at a prestigious gallery. Today, her work hangs in major museums worldwide. But if you ask Clara what her greatest masterpiece is, she'll tell you it's not hanging on any wall. She gestured to the students. "It's the light in your eyes when you discover your own creative voice. It's the confidence you gain when someone truly sees your potential." Clara stood, leaning on her cane but straight-backed and proud. Remember, children, the true value of art isn't measured in dollars or fame. It's measured in how it transforms both creator and viewer. That's the real masterpiece. The true wealth in this world isn't found in gallery prices or critical acclaim. It's found in how you treat those who can offer you nothing in return. She smiled warmly. "And you? Have you ever been judged too quickly before someone truly saw your worth? Share your story in the comments below. And if you found value in this story of redemption and second chances, please like and subscribe for more transformational journeys that remind us of our shared humanity.